Thank you so much, Maya, and thank you all of you for joining for this very exciting and timely summit, and good morning. It is indeed a great privilege for me and my colleagues at the Insight Center to play a supportive role in the organization of this very important gathering, which has been quite skillfully assembled by Dr. Maya Rockamore and her able team at the Center for Global Policy Solutions. Like the Center for Global Policy Solutions, the Insight Center is not a newcomer to this work, nor to the cause of empowering low-income communities of color in the context of American law and economy. Founded in 1969, Insight is a national research, consulting, and legal organization dedicated to building economic health and vitality in vulnerable communities. We strive to provide alternative perspectives and insights, hence our name, related to economic policy and practice as they affect low-income communities of color. And in the process, we partner with a very diverse range of colleagues to develop innovative strategies and programs that result in systemic change and that help people, especially people of color, to become and to remain economically secure. A decade ago now, in 2004, the Insight Center first partnered with Kilolo Kijakazi, who is in the audience today, and the Ford Foundation, where she has been working for the past decade, to identify experts of color and to involve them in asset policy work so that the foundation and the nation could become even more responsive to the needs of people of color and help identify ways that Americans could close this persistent widening racial wealth gap, much to the points that Maya raised in her opening remarks. Not long after, over subsequent years, through an increasingly impressive, impactful influence in the national policy context, the Center for Global Policy Solutions became an essential partner and co-leader, in many cases a leader, in this work. And we have worked together ever since to advance a series of informative, important, and timely convenings, reports, and collaborations on the issues involving many of you in the audience here today. I am thrilled, as I'm sure you are, that we find ourselves once again coming together to have this conversation, and particularly in this instance, at such a critical moment in our nation's history. Our actions, I do not believe it is an overstatement to say, over the next few years will no doubt help to shape the fate of the next generation of Americans. As the Center for Global Policy Solutions key partner in the Closing the Racial Wealth Gap initiative, and through the work of my very able colleagues at Insight, Ann Price and Gabriela Sandoval, who are here with us today, we at Insight are principally focused in our work on state, local, and regional manifestations of the issues. But like the Center for Global Policy Solutions, we have a very large interest, as I know all of you do, in the essential role of national policymaking in shaping the landscape that will inform America's overall future economic standing and social well-being. In our partnership with the Center for Global Policy Solutions to date, and with much of your help, we've accomplished a great deal that all of us can and should be proud of, both nationally and at the state and local levels, to put asset-building issues and strategies squarely on the table at the highest levels of public policy decision-making across our country. Our major accomplishments in these areas include the following. First, we have assembled the nation's most impressive and robust network of experts of color and their allies in applied study and public communications on the issues. That network is now over 200 members strong and a force within the field. Second, we have in a number of ways propelled the issue of America's growing racial wealth gap into the public discourse, the mainstream public discourse, including getting it on the radar in major media outlets and markets and in the national and regional news coverage that we consume. And third, we have advocated and advanced very impressively concrete policy proposals to help working and middle-class Americans of all backgrounds, frankly, to build assets and wealth in these very difficult times in which we live. Based on this work and the Center for Global Policy Solutions established leadership here in the national capital, Maya and her team have assembled today a top-flight crew of speakers and experts that I, much like you, I'm sure, am most anxious to hear from and to learn from as we consider the next steps in our journey together. It is a very good time, I'm sure you'll agree, to hear from and listen to these leading thinkers and practitioners. In close and implicit compatibility with the moniker of the Center for Global Policy Solutions, at the Insight Center, frankly, we too are increasingly much more interested in solutions rather than merely naming the age-old problems that we know have existed and continue to exist in the field. This gathering offers a very great and momentous opportunity to lift up solutions that can help our nation regain the slipping vitality of our shrinking middle class and resuscitate the essential elements of our waning sense of democracy and fairness in America. You all know, better than most Americans, that we are at an essential crossroads in our identity as a nation. In the future that awaits us, we will either become, by our own actions and decisions, a more closed and a more divided society, separated by growing racial and class divides, something like a developing nation in some other part of the world, or we will double down on long overdue and essential public and private investments that generate bold new opportunities to build community and share new wealth with an emerging generation of diverse and aspiring middle-class stakeholders, something like what this nation, until very recently in its history, has done better than any other nation in recorded history. We need to get back to basics. With no less at stake than the American future, I know we will all take very seriously the opportunity before us here in the time that we have to co-learn, to develop consensus, and to create and scale new policy models designed to support asset building in low-income communities all across our nation. No discussion could be more needed nor more important than this discussion today in our contemporary public life. We have a noble vision for America, a society where the ability to take care of your family and to pass on opportunities for the next generation will not be predetermined by where you live, by the color of your skin, the language you principally speak, or the social status or the relative historical advantages of your ancestors. This vision requires, first and foremost, all of us to recognize that building and safeguarding the wealth and security of all Americans requires a fundamentally different set of policies and economic arrangements than we currently have in place. To that end, we are very excited indeed to continue in our partnership with the Center for Global Policy Solutions and all of you as we embark on still a next stage of excited, needed change work to close America's growing racial wealth gap. I want to thank you for your presence, for your leadership, your creativity, and your vision throughout. We have exciting and important business before us, and indeed, it is time now to get busy with that business. So once again, please join me in expressing my deepest gratitude to Maya and her impressive team for setting the table for all of us to partake in the exciting exchange to come throughout this day. Now, without further ado, I believe I'm going to ask Maya to come forward and introduce an important special guest that we have awaiting you. Thank you for your time and your patience with my remarks.